All right. um, there are several types of self-esteem. Yeah? General or global, and then situational or specific self-esteem, and then task self-esteem. General or global, that is how we view ourselves in general. How students view themselves in general, whether they are achiever, whether they are successful, whether they are not successful, they see themselves as failure, they see themselves as high achiever, moderate achiever, or low achiever, or even a failure. Yeah. There is a general global self-esteem, and then we also have social or situational or specific self-esteem. What does it mean? This is how we see ourselves in a certain situation. Remember or imagine if we are among people who are much superior than us in our view. Do we feel equal? Do we feel inferior? Or do we? How do we feel? Yeah. How do we judge ourselves? How do we rate ourselves? That will influence how we will behave ourselves in that particular situation. The same. For example, we have a student who is actually a good achiever, a smart student, but in a situation or in a context where all the students in his school or in his class are smart and high achievers, how do this student, or how do we rate ourselves, how do we see ourselves in the context of high achievers? So this is what is meant by situational. A student who is not a high achiever in one school, when moving to a school which is not really as high in terms of standard as the older school, then probably the students will have higher self-esteem because they see themselves as superior to other students. So that is what is meant by situational. In what situation students exist. And then task. Some people are very good at doing certain tasks, but they see them not as good in doing some other task. Yeah. I have a friend who is a very good speaker actually, but when he has to give a speech in a formal speech, then he is not really confident. Yeah. So this is self-esteem in relation to particular tasks. We, I believe, also experience this. So, what is the relation with language instruction? We may be aware, or we may not be aware that students have this kind of self-esteem, task self-esteem, situation self-esteem, yeah, where the students do not perform as good or do perform much better in particular task, in particular situation. This is related to self-esteem. Another factor is what is called inhibition. Inhibition is a set of defenses one builds around one's ego to protect it. Those with weaker self-esteem maintain walls of inhibition to protect what is self-perceived to be weak or fragile ego, or a lack of self-confidence in a situation or task. So this will inhibit the activity, the actions the students may take, or how the students respond to stimuli from outside themselves. They are usually defensive in this case. So if we have students who is not willing to try out things, or who is easily unsettled in terms of self-esteem, this is what is meant by inhibition. And then risk taking. We have students who are willing to take risks, and there are also students who seems to never take risk. So there are high risk takers, or low risk takers, or medium risk takers. Okay, we have high risk takers. Do high risk takers like to take risks? Yes. But are they always successful? Not necessarily. Because high risk takers quite often do not take into consideration factors that may influence their performance. Yeah? So high risk takers are not usually successful. Can they be successful? Yes, but not always. What about moderate risk taker? High and then now moderate. What about moderate one? When moderate risk takers tend to be in control and depend on skills, not just hunches. Yeah. So in control of themselves and depend on skills, and they venture only calculated guesses. So not just wild guesses, but calculated guesses, not wild. Yeah. So frivolous risk or enter into no-win situations. So high risk, moderate risk takers make willing and accurate guesses. Very likely, moderate risk takers are the most successful risk takers. What about low risk takers? Unwilling to appear foolish when making mistakes. So because they are afraid of making mistakes, they prefer not to take risk, not to try. Which one are we? Are we high risk takers? Are we moderate risk takers? Are we low risk takers? Only us know. But how can we help students to take risk in class? We need to create a climate of acceptance that will stimulate self-confidence. Have we ever been embarrassed for making mistakes in class? Have we been embarrassed because other students laughed at us for making mistakes, making silly mistakes? Have our students been annoyed by us because we ridicule, because we belittle our students for making mistakes? If that is the case, we need to change. Yeah. We need to create a climate of acceptance that making mistakes is okay, that making mistakes is part of learning. It is one of the processes in learning. A climate of acceptance that will stimulate self-confidence. And then also we need to encourage participants or students to experiment and to discover. We need to encourage students to take risk without feeling embarrassed. That we provide support and we are appreciative to the students' effort, to the willingness of volunteering, of taking risk to foster sense of achievement. Sense of achievement is very important in learning. Because success, if the students feel that they achieve something, that they are successful in learning, this will stimulate further success. This will increase student motivation to learn. So in this case, in relation with risk taking, we should deal high risk takers properly and encourage low risk takers to be more willing to take risk. But we need to create situations in which making mistakes is okay, and then also making the students aware that they are valued, they are appreciated for their effort, so that they are willing to take risk. The next factor is anxiety. Like in self-esteem, we have 3 types. Here we also have 3 types. Trait anxiety. What is trait anxiety? Well, because it is trait, it is more permanent inclination to be anxious. We may know that some people tend to be anxious all the time, have high level of anxiety. We may observe that. And then we also have what is called state anxiety. This is uneasy anticipation at a particular moment in time as a response to a definite event or act. So we feel anxious only in a particular state. And then we also have situation anxiety in a particular situation. So it is probably related to task, self-esteem, public speaking, examination, or we may feel anxious when we have to talk in front of the public, when we do exams, and this may influence our performance. Sources of anxiety can vary. It can be communication apprehension, arising from learners' inability to adequately express mature thoughts or ideas, or we are anxious because of the test, apprehension over academic evaluation, we are afraid of being evaluated, we are worried of being evaluated, or we are afraid of negative evaluation. So these are some of the examples of the sources of anxiety. How do we study this? Well, it can be through diary, the diary of the participants that we study, or through questionnaire if we conduct a survey. In terms of effect, we have facilitative anxiety, but also debilitative anxiety. Which one is good? Of course, facilitative anxiety. Debilitative anxiety, well,